Welcome to the X Podcast. We're excited to have you back for another exciting episode, and I have my two friends with me, Zach.
Woo.
Zach Brown Band.
Say Zach Brown. Always.
Zach
Every
Brown
time.
Band, and of course my co-host Russ, the infamous John Russell Moore.
John Russell Moore. Zach Brown, what is your dad's name?
Chris Brown.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I did. Chris Brown, Zach
I found
Brown.
that out this
Famous.
week.
Yeah.
Daughter's name is Charlie Brown. I mean,
You guys have a lot of.
Yeah, your daughter's name is Charlie Brown. Your name is Zach Brown. Your dad's name is Chris Brown.
This
Yeah.
is
This is a show.
Generational
This is a TV
thing.
sitcom.
It is.
I love it.
it would be actually a good sitcom.
So, anyways, this is a really, at the time of us sitting down to record, this is a really exciting time. I'm
Yes.
so excited about this. Are you excited? I'm
Yeah,
so excited
heck
about this.
yeah, because we got all the.
I'm pumped.
I'm pumped too.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm more pumped than him.
No, I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I'm excited to find out what I'm excited about.
Tell me. Who are you for?
Yes.
I'm so sorry.
Who's going to win?
Between
Who's going to win? Who you rooting for?
There's a lot of competition going on in the
No,
universe.
no,
No,
in
no,
the
no.
NBA Finals.
Ah.
Starting now,
Who are you
who's
for?
going to win?
The Clippers.
Nope.
Nope.
Who else?
Nope. Keep going.
Keep
The
going.
Spurs.
Nope. Keep going.
Maybe if it was like 1999.
I would say Golden State.
That's possible.
That-
They
it
are
could be
in the
them.
finals. Who are
I
they
know.
playing?
I was kidding the first two.
Who are they playing in the finals?
Yeah, you know. But you don't.
No, I do.
Who
I
do
do.
you think it is?
Who
We'll
is
see if you're right.
Who are they playing?
I'm going to test you. Who do you think it is?
I know who it is. You don't have
you need
to.
to
I'm
guess.
asking you. Who
Right
is
now.
it?
Okay.
Yes.
It is Nuggets.
Okay,
No.
first of all, it's going to be a team from the Eastern Conference.
Yep. Not the
that-
Western Conference.
Which
Okay.
that's Western Conference, so that's not going to be the Nuggets.
From the
East
Eastern Conference.
Coast.
I just
it's
really-
not the Hornets.
it's not the
No,
Hornets.
it's not the Hornets.
Charlotte Hornets are
They're kind of done, aren't they?
non-existent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're about a college team.
Let's. Who do you? What state do you think they're from?
No, I want to know from you.
Yeah. We're talking about the Buzzers.
How about this? It's a team in the Northeast.
Big city.
Washington?
Big city. Nope.
No, not Northeast. It's hold on. From New York?
Nope. This is riveting.
Close to New
podcast.
York.
Riveting. Those people listening.
New Jersey?
Nets?
Nope.
Nope. The Brooklyn Nets. They moved. So
Connecticut?
No.
nope. One other state right inside there. Right,
like right-
you're
Maine?
Right. Nope. No. Inside
Rhode-
those.
You're getting
Rhode
close.
Island?
You're
No,
close.
Massachusetts. What's
Okay.
it?
Massachusetts.
Yeah, the Massachusetts.
Vermont.
No,
Oh,
Massachusetts.
okay.
That is
The
the state.
Massachusetts
Okay,
M&M.
I can't handle this anymore.
This is
Massachusetts.
bad.
What team comes from Massachusetts?
Boston.
The Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics.
Boston
Oh, so
Sports
anyways,
ball.
who's going to win?
Celtics.
Let me
or the
tell you
Warriors.
something.
Oh
This
my
does
gosh.
not make up for this lack of. Is this an episode about sports?
No.
Yes.
No, it's
Listen,
not. Maybe it is.
One of my favorite games that Jordan ever played is he scored 63 points
In
against the
Madison
Celtics.
Square Garden.
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games he ever
Yeah.
played.
Speaking of Jordan.
So it's going to be the
Speaking
Celtics
of Jordan.
and who?
And the Golden State Warriors.
Warriors.
Ooh.
I think the Warriors win.
I'm actually going for the Warriors.
Yeah. I think Golden State wins.
I think so too.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of Jordan, though, this is the long-standing debate when you talk about basketball.
Is it really a debate, though? I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
It
It's
is-
probably
no.
not a debate.
Like he has
No,
bought
it
into
is
false
for sure a
doctrine,
debate.
bad theology, and the
not
heresies
true.
that Paul warned Timothy about.
No.
But
Thank
you
you.
and I
No.
know,
We know.
we have our lives planted on a solid rock that Michael
Oh,
Jordan
yes.
is forever the GOAT.
Yep.
No. Why?
First of all, it is definitely not LeBron.
Let me hear.
I have
Yeah.
given
It
it.
is.
I am not giving you these again. I have sent you
No.
lists.
I
of
told you about the
things
people that love
of
basketball in the
how
sauna.
many- not only how many titles, how many MVPs, how many defensive
Championships.
awards he's won. It's all of those things. Scoring awards.
He's just a legend.
It's just all of them. But
Do
anyways,
you-
and then we all know
No,
that
there's
Michael
so-
Jordan is the GOAT, and then
Right.
No.
then we have Kobe.
No.
This is like the time that you
Then
tried
we-
to argue that Paul was better than Jesus.
Wow.
It's definitely
And
not
I
true.
disagree with you on all of
If
it.
you're talking about the best basketball player of all time,
Yeah,
It's not
Michael
Paul.
Jordan.
no, it is
What,
LeBron
Elgin Baylor?
James.
No.
What were you going to say?
No, LeBron James.
Julius Erving?
No one else
Kareem
possesses
Abdul-Jabbar?
his
Please say Scottie
combination
Pippen.
of
Scottie Pippen.
size, strength,
Wait,
basketball
what does
IQ,
what does size have to do with
passing
anything?
ability,
What does size have to
scoring
do with
ability.
anything? They can't control any of that.
Yeah.
What does size have to do with anything? You can't go, he's the
I'm just
tallest
saying-
NBA player
Right.
I'm
ever.
just saying-
Who
no, I did
cares?
not
It's like
say
putting
he was
Shaq
tallest
against
in
Monkey
the NBA.
Bogues
I'm
and
saying-
saying,
You were
well,
using it as your argument
No,
for him
no.
being the greatest
No,
because
no.
of how
What
size
I'm
and
If you're
saying-
listening,
strength.
stick with
what
us.
I'm saying
Yeah.
is
Anyways,
the
let's move
amount of
on.
years he's played in the NBA.
Okay, so now
so
we're going to go
longevity?
longevity over
longevity,
over
you
excellence.
go-
Over
excellence.
over excellence.
LeBron James, 8 straight finals. He
How many
has
championships?
4 career MVPs.
How many
4
titles does he have?
How
with
many
those
championships?
4
Hey, how many does he have?
Finals MVPs.
Hey,
What?
How many championships
Guess
has he
what?
lost?
guess what? Michael Jordan
What?
went to 6 straight finals. Michael Jordan.
He
I
did, not
said the
go
Bulls.
to, he did not go to 6
Yes, he
straight finals.
did. Yes, he did. He went to 6 straight finals. Guess how many he won?
He won 6 finals.
6 in a
Yeah.
row.
He did not win 6. No, he won 3.
No.
And then he went off, and then he won 3.
Yeah, he went to 6 straight finals.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
He
saying
did not play
retired.
for those years in between where he went and actually played another sport at a really high level. Let's be
AAA.
AAA. They say he was on the verge of that. I mean, how do you be the best basketball player ever and almost be able to play another professional sport?
Yeah.
That's pretty rare. Okay, so we're going to talk about just athletic ability. Now, again, I will say LeBron could probably have played in the NFL.
Oh, for
There's
sure.
no doubt about it.
Yes.
And he probably would have been a
Yeah,
really
you
good
just like
tight
the
end
size.
or wide receiver. But I mean, he's a
Yeah.
big dude. But
Yeah.
I mean, since we already have settled this, but let's
Yes.
it made me
Debate
think
not
about.
settled.
So here's the thing. Zach and I, the reason why he's on here, Zach and I, we constantly have this debate, and it's cute, it's fun. I mean, he's younger, so all he knows is LeBron.
He's got a
Even
little
though,
couple
even though,
theories.
even though Kobe has more rings
No.
and all that. But anyways, but we were debating this, and we got talking on what was it, Monday
Yeah.
of this week,
Yep.
and we were talking just about greatness.
Yes.
And it just kind of one thing led to another, and you were
And
just
you
telling
thought
me
about
about
me.
how great I was, and you just stole what I was trying to do. Dang it! And
Did I think about you?
yeah, and so
what y'all said.
but you said something that you read that was
Yeah.
kind of fascinating, and I guess I wanted to talk about that idea, and so maybe you could tell us what that idea was that you
Yes.
read in a book, and whether or not we think it's a fallacy.
So, in this book, this idea that was presented
What's the
was
book?
that Garden City by John Mark.
John Mark Comer.
Yeah,
That's a good book.
Yes.
Yeah, that's his favorite author.
It's a great book.
It is
He just discovered him a couple months ago.
It's his favorite author.
Yeah, it's
Not-
cute.
It is
Not
his
just-
favorite
I love
author.
it.
We're moving.
He loves
Moving
Comer.
on.
It's a Comer.
Anyways, okay. So this idea in this book, he was talking about the human capacity for greatness,
Okay.
and he was making an argument that when God originally created humans, man, he gave them this order or this rule to follow. He said, "I want you to fill the earth and then subdue it." And really, he's talking about kind of cultivating. He's talking about ruling language. Like you're going to rule the earth, subdue it, and you're going to create the world in the way that he had created it.
Talking about hunting.
I'm talking about hunting.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds like it.
John Mark presented this idea. He said
Mm-hmm.
that inside each and every one of us is the capacity to rule or to be a king or a queen. And really, when you think about kings and queens, you think
Whoa.
about greatness.
That
you think
sounds like a
about
series
royalty.
that we are doing.
Yes.
Wow.
And so he said that there
He
is
stole that idea from
something
me.
innate inside of each one of us. There is a desire or a longingness or something inside of each and every one of us that desires to be great.
Wait. What was how did he connect the conclusion just because we were commanded by God to fill the earth and subdue it
So
and have
he-
dominion
so if you
over
look
it, that means that there's a longing
the-
within us genetically for greatness?
Yes.
Is that a little bit of a stretch? I'm not disagreeing that maybe that exists. I'm just saying, is that a little bit of a stretch?
Maybe, I don't know. There's something inside in each and every
Okay.
one of us that
So-
desires or maybe ascribes
Let's define
to a story
greatness.
that's greater
Okay.
than ourselves.
I wonder. Maybe I'm getting tripped up on the word greatness.
Yes.
I mean, is this when you say story? I think more purpose. I think meaning. I think whatever. But that I wouldn't necessarily equate with greatness.
No.
But I do think it's an
the
interesting.
chapter was called Redefining Greatness.
Okay.
Okay, so
maybe we need to define
okay,
that.
so you resonated with you. So how are you
Yeah.
internally connecting those dots?
So I think for me, I think there's something that exists inside each and every one of us for a life that's bigger than what we currently live.
Okay.
And so I think that there's something, when we wake up every single day and we look at the world around us, I think we imagine ourselves accomplishing or doing something greater than what we currently do. And I think from the minute that we're born, it's like almost like there's this thing inside of us that's pushing us to say, okay, what more can I accomplish? What more can I do? How can I leave a mark? How can I leave a legacy? How can I leave behind something that matters? And I think
But you think we're okay? Let's
that thing
let's
can
push back
push
a
us.
little bit on it. I'm not saying I disagree, but I just as you're saying this, and it's not your idea either.
No,
so I just want to push back on it. Is that really a nature or is that a nurture? Like you say, from the moment we're born, but I don't know that we're thinking about legacy when we're born. I don't know that we're thinking about those things. But do we develop it because of the culture that we live in? Like, I guess I want to say, the culture we live in celebrates a version of greatness.
Yes.
And when something like that is celebrated, glorified, everybody wants to ascribe to it. We want to experience that. It's like, seeing famous athletes and wealthy people and the lifestyle they live. You go, I want that. And so our culture really defines that as greatness. Mm-hmm. So again, I want to go back I'm kind of pushing back on this idea. I'm not saying that we don't all at some point want that, but is that more of a product of nurture than I would say nature? In other words, did God really create us to, as LeBron says, strive for greatness?
And one day he'll make it.
I mean, I think there's something inside each and every one of us that says that they want to create more than they want to add something of value to the world.
Yeah,
I think there's something.
But is that the same as greatness? I guess are we reducing the term greatness down to a point where it's meaning of value?
So again, the chapter.
What's the context?
Was redefining greatness.
Okay.
So you just give a definition for the way our culture views greatness, and I do agree.
Yeah.
It's how much influence do you have? How much money do you have? How much wealth and power do you do you accumulate?
How successful are you in your career?
So when we think about being great, we think about all these things that we can do. We can build for ourselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think the whole purpose of this chapter was, what if greatness isn't that? But what if it's this idea of actually creating something beautiful and leaving behind something
so I will
that is actually meaningful.
Yeah.
So
beyond just building something your own self.
I would actually say I agree with you, and I'd push back. I think it is something born in the nature of who you are, and then the culture you're around either suppresses it, amplifies it, or corrupts it. So like you look at I think you can look back historically, and even like in other cultures, not just ours, there is something inside of every little boy and girl that dreams bigger when they're younger. Mm-hmm. Like you don't have to teach a little kid to dream big. Why? Because there is this wonder and magic and heroism born. There is a heroic, and if you look back through even cultures and you just look at storytelling, there's a heroic narrative that is familiar to every culture, no matter how different those cultures are.
Yeah.
And little boys and girls cling to the ideas of superheroes and to the prince that's riding in the shining armor to win the princess and to kill the dragon and to slay the enemies. And so I think there is something deep, and from a faith framework, I believe is because God is more unimaginable and more ineffable than we could ever even come close to understanding. And that DNA in us causes us to dream big, causes us to. But then I think based on the surrounding you're in, it either suppresses that. I mean, you look at the Netherlands where mediocrity is celebrated. You cut down the tall poppy. Like, are you getting too big for your own? No, society's going to push you down. Or maybe the environment of your family teaches you that their highest priority is safety, and their highest priority is conformity. Or so you can have it suppressed, you can have it celebrated, or you could be argued, kind of like what you're saying in American culture. Maybe sometimes it's corrupted. It's like it's redefined in a selfish, egoistic way. That's like, oh no, it's about me, my own personal selfish ambition. So that'd be
I would. That's possible. I don't know if I would still say it's wired into our DNA.
But
really,
but
I don't know.
I can give you a couple examples of why it would be though.
Okay.
I mean, think about you have someone like Mozart.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm not saying I necessarily disagree, but I want to process if you're going to put kind of in his argument, a theological footing behind it, then I'm kind of like wanting to say, well, wait a minute, where does that come from?
Think about someone like a Mozart, someone who from a young age begins to hear melodies and different things inside their brain, and they just can't help but sit down and start composing, or Bach, or some of these great artists of our of the Renaissance, or different things like that. There's something innate inside each of them that they have a desire to create something, and they just start doing it, and they start putting things together, and it's beautiful, and it's amazing. You think about, I look at my own kids, and I see my kids dream these incredible, huge, amazing dreams, and I think the older we get, the more our society kind of pushes that down and represses that thought. But I think young kids, especially, I resonate with what you said, that there's something inside of us that desires or would, as we say, strive for greatness, would say, I strive or I aspire to rise above my current platform or current
Let me
station.
say this. In the idea of being for it, all I can speak to is my own personal drive or motivation. Again, that doesn't take into consideration, sociological factors and other things that led to it. But
Of course.
internally, yes, I personally have a motivation to be at the best I can be at what I do or what I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And I do think that I would agree that I think, at least culturally, where I try to, whenever you have these kind of like deep philosophical or theological constructs, what I always want to do is I want to say, does that make sense everywhere and all time? When you're going to say it's been wired into us. So I'm going to say, hey, you go to some very remote tribal groups that, I mean, there's an island out in the, I think it's the Indian Ocean, where there's a story I read years and years ago. This has very little to do with it, but it's this tribal group that some people would say are maybe cannibals. I don't know if they're cannibals / whatever, but they won't allow any outside influence on the island. There was a Christian missionary that actually got killed trying to go reach them.
Jim Elliot.
Was that his name? Jim Elliot? And you look at some of those again. What I wonder, and I'm just wondering, is people that are born into, now where I will say that I will agree that I think it is possible there's something there, is that even sometimes in remote cultures like that don't have a lot of influence from, say, our modern or industrialized nations and all of this, they'll sometimes have even their own spiritual construct that does have a God, a deity, sometimes a savior, sometimes, to rescue. I don't know if that speaks to greatness. I'm just saying they do have some of that heroic type of narrative. I don't know if that would cross over into some of those cultures. I don't know if people that are live in those tribal cultures, because they don't seem to be building or advancing anything. Now, again, maybe that's the wrong definition of greatness, and that's why we might be so tainted by our own culture and what we consider great and what we build. But for myself, I will say the part I resonate with it is there is probably a nagging part within me, and maybe we could say Enneagram 3, because there's 2 Enneagram 3s and Enneagram 4 at this table. Sorry, there's 3 Enneagram 3s at this table. But the part inside of me that is motivated to, like, there is a massive frustration that I will feel if I am not moving up and to the right in any area.
Yeah.
It's like, growing up sports, playing basketball, if I can't become the best at basketball or as good as I think I should be able to be, I'm never going to be LeBron James or Michael Jordan. I'm not, like, as you saw, I'm not tall and strong and all these things, but
Well, at least not Michael.
Not Michael.
Yeah.
But, I guess what I'm saying is that, like, a lot of the things I've done in my life, I would at least say from probably high school on, there's been some element of wanting to strive for greatness. Not in everything, I will say. So I don't know. We pick and choose things too.
Really?
That's why.
Really though?
Oh, really?
You're not.
Yeah.
You're not competitive in everything.
No, I'm competitive in everything, but there are some things that I just don't care about. No, some things I didn't care about. When I was in high school, I didn't care about my grades. I wasn't striving for greatness when I was in high school. Part of that was I just didn't care.
Yeah.
I was apathetic toward it.
Oh,
But
same.
I'm just saying, so I'm just trying to say, if there's this intrinsic thing in us to strive for greatness, let's flesh that out. What does that look like?
Couldn't you argue, though, that if you look at, I'm not saying if you really want to bring it down to a micro level, you might find certain pockets of civilization where certainly you might not see it within this tribal group or that. But when you say over the course of humanity, there has been a desire for progress and to build something beautiful out of
I'd say
the
some
reality
of the things
that we find ourselves in.
Some of the things I can say for sure that I've seen out of human history is there's been a desire for power.
Yes.
I can say that without a shadow of a
Would
doubt.
that not be a corrupted version of a desire for greatness?
Or a corrupted version of what God commanded him to do, which is to have dominion over the earth. So when I look at that, I see power. I don't necessarily see power the same as greatness in this context, but I can see that.
But what about the argument of, we talk about it a lot. It comes from the Artist and Soul, and a lot of what the McManuses have propagated, this whole thing from youth, that if you look at just like from the standpoint of anthropology, you look at humans, the argument from some people that we respect is that even though you can look around and see a ton of adults that don't seem creative and seem very complacent when it comes to that side of them, the argument is anthropologically, human beings are created to create and designed to design, and everybody is an artist at work and a work of art, and they have that part of them, but it's suppressed.
Yep.
And until somebody calls it out of them, what's innately in them, they don't step into it. He makes the same point in Genius of Jesus. I mean, you even is it Loreto or what's the Loreto, the study of kids at a young age?
George Land,
the
NASA study. Yeah,
that there's so many. Children are all geniuses when they're young.
98%
98%
of the kids that they
then when they grow
study,
older and older
them.
and older, would it not be the same thing with greatness?
possible.
That when people grow up, again, my goal, or my take, I stand by it, is that greatness is either suppressed by the nature around them, by disappointment in life, by just settling into the status quo, or they celebrate it and rise into it, or it's corrupted into carnal ways.
To your point, you asked me kind of what my own thought process was as I was reading this chapter in this book, and one of the things I immediately jumped to is what is my capacity for greatness? Because I don't know that maybe not everyone thinks that way, but I think sometimes in our own Western American version, I see and I say, well, I'm never going to be, like you said, I'm never going to be LeBron, or I'm never going to be have this much money or status or wealth or power, whatever it is. But I ask myself the question, can I be great in just what I'm doing every day?
Yeah.
Or can I be, what does it look like to be a great husband or a great father? Or does that matter? Is that something to strive for? That's the question I was asking myself. So I think when we talk about greatness, speaking to the human capacity for greatness, I think we all have a capacity for it.
I think we all have a capacity, but your argument was that we all have an innate desire.
Yeah.
And I think
To
both
be
are
great.
true. I think we all have an innate desire for greatness.
Yes.
And I want to go back
Maybe
to,
I
I
should say we
think you
have
can
a higher
argue.
capacity than what we realize.
Absolutely. That's part B of it. If we all have the desire, can we grow and develop our capacity? And that's a whole other conversation that's inspiring. But I'll go back to, I just think you could look at the story narrative of all the cultures. Like even in that remote tribe you mentioned, I bet there's some initiation rites they have into manhood and womanhood. I bet there's certain things they do celebrate. Or there's certain things that they do.
But just because you celebrate something doesn't mean that it's an internal motivation for greatness.
But think about it this way. Even the people, like even if you were to look and sample parts of society that, I mean, I don't know how you judge this or measure this. You're like, oh, they seem status quo. They seem whatever. But would it also be true that you could look at them and point out where they celebrate greatness, even if they don't keep striving for greatness? I think you'd be hard-pressed to find any human being you know that doesn't desire greatness or at least celebrate greatness, which shows that there's something in us, even if we give up on the sense of greatness in ourselves, that knows that human beings were made for it.
Yeah.
You mean greatness recognizes greatness?
Greatness recognizes greatness. I guess that's true because, I mean, when it comes to LeBron,
So greatness? Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm trying to play more devil's advocate than anything else, and I don't know if there's I don't know if it's a super strong argument, but there are definite signs and that would point to I think there's definitely an internal motivator inside of me. I don't know where all that came from. Some of it could be that it's God-given.
Some of it's personality.
Some of it's personality, which you could also make an argument is also connected to our DNA / or whatever, And so, I do think that there is something to the importance of the conversation of, and we don't have to get in it, but capacity.
Yeah.
Because, like, I even just think about, Jesus using parables and talking about different people with different capacities. And are we fulfilling our capacity? And I think probably one of the things that maybe has been a deterrent in our culture, and maybe it's just the whole, maybe like you said, the name of that chapter is probably a great name for what we should do, which is redefine greatness. Because I think most people feel like if I can't, get to this type of job title or make this amount of money or live in this kind of house or have status or have this, then I'm not great.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that is even a deterrent
It's a limiting
from
factor.
people like actually trying to become great. I wonder, it's going back to that study where it says 98% of the kids that they surveyed, at age of 4 to 5 years old, all scored as genius, and then what's funny is ironic. The flip is when they follow them all the way to adulthood, only 2% of them did.
Yeah.
And so I totally 100% agree on that. We lose something that we had when we were young by nurture that really seems to drive it out of us. I wonder if like even myself, I wonder how we would be as people when it comes to this idea of greatness. If there was something that inspired us or something and we actually had the work ethic to become in this idea, I don't know that everybody feels that way. I'm not saying that's an argument for why, but I can recognize when I run into somebody and go, that person is so dedicated to their craft, they're dedicated to that job, that skill, that they invest hours and hours and hours and have become not only experts, but people that we would celebrate and going, they're some of the best.
But what comes to my mind though when you say this is I think there's a distinction, because what you're speaking to is, it seems like, as you're saying, without putting words in your mouth, it's hard to believe that because you meet so many people filled with apathy.
Yeah.
You meet so many people filled with complacency. You meet so many people that seem settled. And I think that can be true at the same time as saying, but there are dormant seeds inside of every human being.
Well,
and some people never water those seeds. Sometimes it lies dormant their entire, and what a tragedy. Sometimes those seeds lie dormant their entire lives.
Yes.
But the seed
But what causes
of that desire,
you think? Because if we are wired for it, what causes that? I think that's maybe a better question.
nature, disappointment,
Wait. You said nature. When you say nature,
nurture.
You mean nurture?
Nurture.
I was going to say if we are wired for
nurture,
greatness,
disappointment, pain, failure,
Other
life
full experiences.
I mean, if we're gonna go with the seed analogy, you said the cares of life. You get distracted.
Yeah.
You settle.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
comfort. Some people. Let's be honest. Comfort is easier than greatness. I mean, part of that is we talk about greatness, recognizes greatness. I mean, one of the many. If we were going to have a conversation about developing capacity, part of developing capacity is what you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
And most people would rather be around people that make them feel comfortable than elevate them.
yeah.
Most people would rather live lives of that feel more at ease and comfortable than the risk and pain and sacrifice of demanding your
that's good.
best
Yeah.
Yeah.
and bringing your diligence and your determination and your work ethic and your fire and your passion. I mean, you can pour gasoline and fire on the desire just like you can water seed. Or you can let the seeds die and remain dormant.
Yeah. That's good. I
That's really
I
good.
agree. I mean, but that's a good reason why all of those things, and I guess maybe the question is, how do we recognize those things? And I think first you have to discover what you want to be great at. Like, I think what is, I always look at like what is something that is either A, is a passion of yours?
Gift.
I think some B, what are you good at? And you can develop, I think, a skill, but then there's some people, I mean, we've all met some people that are just so naturally gifted. I mean, there's some, like, Tucker, there's some people who can just sing anything, and it's like, how do you do that? You know what I mean? But that was also something he developed. He wasn't always like that, right? And so I think you can have a gift.
There's your gift and there's your skill.
You have to, and you develop it with skill to become great at it. And so, I think it's like, but identifying
Yes.
what moves the needle in you, and it could be. Listen, it's not always. That's what I say. It's not always like, oh, I need to go and create a company. I want to make wealth. It could be your greatest desire. Could be I want to be a mom.
Right.
So the question would be, if that's, what does it look like to be the greatest mom? Not in comparison to everybody else, but for you, what does it look like to be a great mom? But and are we falling into those categories? I guess I'm saying, I want to be a mom. Okay, well, you can be a mom.
Yeah.
You can become a mom usually.
Yeah.
I mean, I have fertility issues, but you find someone you can become a mom. But there's a difference between that and wanting to be a great mom.
Yeah.
Like wanting to actually pursue what it means to be passionate about being great at being a mom or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think also too, you can expand that thought to even beyond just yourself. Like you can ask the question, how can I be great and add value to the world?
Yeah.
I think there's so many
Yeah.
things that people just walk through life and they want to build their own life. They want to build their own house, build their own whatever it is, their own name, profile, whatever it is. But not many people think about, well, what kind of value, what kind of beauty, what kind of creativity, what kind of greatness can I bring to the world around me? And we live in such a connected, we talked about this before, the world is so connected in the way that it works. I think about teachers. Teachers are a great example of this. We need great teachers who are pouring into the next generation of students and giving them dreams, fueling hopes, identifying passions and gifts and desires in those students, which are then hopefully going to ignite within them a desire and a passion.
Is that what we do in school? I thought we teach them geometry and history.
You are devil's advocate.
I disagree with you.
You are.
No, I feel bad for teachers because I think teachers feel that.
Yes.
I think teachers feel that.
That tension.
But then the system and what you have to do boxes it in. It's like, no, teach this curriculum. And
So-
we're not teaching kids to think and be passionate and pursue their dream. I'm not saying we don't.
So
but
so maybe a part B. We're going about it. I used to say that all the time. Part B of this, but if we did a part B of this,
Which
maybe
is
it'd be
right now.
more
Oh, no.
of like how we develop capacity. But maybe a good starting question is maybe would a starting point be giving yourself permission to pursue
Yeah.
greatness?
Yes.
Like I was re-listening to a message recently by somebody that's talking about like they think Christian cultures don't have a great language for greatness because there's this dichotomy of you shouldn't be great if you're a Christian.
Right.
Like, is it wrong to be competitive? Is it
Yeah.
wrong to be? And they talked about, it was interesting. They were talking about the story of when.
Is it wrong to be great at making money?
But here, but this is really interesting. They said, remember the story where the disciples actually it was
Yeah.
the
John-
sons of
the
Thunder.
sons are-
Their mother,
John.
Yes, their mom comes.
Their mommy was like, "Hey, could they
they
you
sit
at
know,
your right hand and
sit at your right
left hand when
hand
you
and
come into glory?"
Jesus like, oh, you don't know what you're asking for, and blah blah blah." But then what Jesus said, I love how this person kind of redefined this.
Yeah.
It's not only redefining greatness. Jesus says, if you want to be great, now usually we only focus on the rest of that verse.
Yeah.
Well, then become a servant, blah blah. But they point, I've never seen it before. They were like, but notice that Jesus didn't correct them for wanting to be great. He
said, if you want to be
he
great.
didn't say, "Oh, you're asking the wrong question. Don't desire that.
Yeah.
That's wrong." Jesus actually said, "No. Let me tell you something.
That's a good point.
To do what I'm about to do, to tell you to do, you actually need a desire for greatness. If you want to be great, here's how you do it. You become the greatest servant possible.
so you know
what
what's-
does it look like to what? And this goes back to." Some people feel really guilty to invest in themselves.
Right.
But what if one of the most loving things you can do, as long as you're letting your motives be purified and it's aspiration and not ego, like what if investing in your skills, investing in yourself, investing in your life, investing to pursue greatness in the pursuit to serve
Others.
is actually one of the most loving thing you can do.
Well,
Yeah,
I would
beautiful.
say this
Yeah.
too. I think to add to
Did
that,
you
I
call
think
me
it's-
beautiful?
Yeah, I think it's you're beautiful.
You are
There's like so
Thank you.
so I think just to also bring this around, I love that point you made, and I think that's a really great example from the Bible. I also think that it presents us with, at some point, how do we define greatness? And I do think, Jesus in that moment said, if you want to be great, then you will be a servant to all. If you want to be the first, you're going to be the last. And so I think I'm 100% with you on that, and I love that perspective. I think we also need to redefine, as the chapter's called, greatness. Like, what does it mean to be great? Because I do think there is something connected to this idea of what he's bringing of greatness and purpose or meaning and story. And I don't know that we can unwind the two.
So what does JMC say? How does he define greatness?
He would define it, I think, where you're about to go, the idea of serving others and understanding that you can bring beauty into whatever role you're serving. So, for example, if you're a plumber, become the best plumber that you can be, and in doing so, you can bring beauty to the world.
Yeah.
If you're a landlord, be the best landlord you can be, and serve the people that are renting from you, or doing those things, and that's adding greatness or being great at what you're doing.
Yeah, I think just connecting
Making it
to
about others.
I agree. I think connecting to your purpose and your meaning will help you define what that greatness is.
Yeah.
And I think if we allow our culture to define greatness,
Right.
most of the time I think we will feel like we don't measure up.
Right.
if greatness is a certain number of followers on Instagram,
money,
if it's
fame.
a size house, if it's the kind of car, if it's the type of lifestyle, if it's certain vacations,
Only
if it's the
1%
stuff
of
you
us
can
will get
own, I think we feel like
It's
we're less
we
than.
We can't ever
And
get that.
And I think the uniqueness of all of us is that there is a capacity. All of us do have capacity for something, and I think when we tap into our meaning and our purpose in that capacity,
Yes.
then we can strive to be great in that. And I think if we strive for greatness within that, I think that is I want to say like a safe or I don't know. It is a good form of striving for greatness, because I agree with what Russ was saying. It's just the idea that this idea of being great is almost like antithetical to following Jesus. That you can't be great in that, because I feel like we've felt that, just even being ministry. I feel like there's a sense of humility
You have to carry.
You got to carry with the humility. Well, no, I'm just serving the Lord. I'm not really good at anything, and I just or there's a sense of, if somebody compliments you, that you don't, it's like, oh no, it's him. It's all God. It's all God. Well, no, I mean, God put a gift and a desire and a calling in me, but I've spent a lot of time and effort and practice trying to develop my skill to be able to communicate. I've spent a lot of time, you know what I mean? Like
growing your leadership or whatever.
Yeah, growing your leadership. And so I think greatness, if we put it in the right context, where we define it properly, like as Jesus did, you want to be great, you're going to serve others. So if you want to be great, strive for greatness, it's not about you.
John said that, or Jesus said that John was greater than any person before him. I mean, Jesus literally had measures of greatness.
Yeah. And so I think it's important for us to keep in mind that and say, if we put greatness on the level of how culture defines it, then I think we're never going to measure up. But I think if we see greatness maybe through the lens of Jesus and how he saw greatness, then I think whatever we're uniquely wired for in the capacity we have, why not try to do it to the best you can?
Ability,
like whatever you do for the Lord, do it
to the best.
To the best. Like
old John Maxwell said, the gifts God gives you, the talents is his gift to you. What you do with them is his gift back to the world, to him.
And can I just add, I think
your gift back to him.
There's something incredibly freeing about that concept, or about that idea that you just said. When you realize you can let go of, like, I need to achieve this certain level of success or fame or money or power, but I can just go be great at what I'm gifted in. I think there's a freedom that comes with that, and all of a sudden this overwhelming pressure to have a certain lifestyle or have your social media feed look a certain way or do whatever, that just kind of melts away. And I think there's true peace that can come from letting that idea go.
So I think take away from this conversation, and I think anybody could go read the book if they wanted to and kind of see how he defines it. I think takeaway could be, one, how would you define greatness? And, can you strive to be great in whatever maybe your story is really made to be, or whatever you feel like God's created you to do? First of all, I'd say let's do that without guilt. If you're doing it for the right reasons, obviously. If I want to grow a big business so that my name is on the side of 100 vans and everybody is seeing me on billboards and thinking, wow, look how successful he is, then you're going about it the wrong way, and it's going to be empty. But I think if you say, I wanted to create a business so that I can employ a bunch of people, so that I can help people in this area of need, and so I can maybe advance missions, I can advance purposes that I have, so I can be generous, so that I can give and I can help things, and then I can help people. Well, I want those kind of people to be great. Because those are the people that are going to change the world.
Adding
and so in that regard, I think we need more people striving for greatness.
Here's a great way to search the motives of your pursuit of greatness. Am I doing this to receive validation, or am I doing this to add value?
That's good.
And I can tell the difference when I'm doing those two. And so, there's this message paraphrase of a verse that says, do the creative best with what you have. And you like you said, there's peace and there's also fulfillment and excitement.
Yes.
When you look at this is what God's given me, I am free to celebrate others, and I'm not doing this to receive validation from people. I'm not itching for applause.
Yeah.
No, from a secure place of resting for me in a faith framework and my Father's full acceptance, I am going to passionately, excitedly sharpen every edge of every gift God's given me, and I'm going to pursue and maximize the talents He's given me for the good of the world.
Yeah, that's good.
Pursue, I love it. You know, in Scripture says, pursue wisdom at all costs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Whatever it costs you.
Yep.
Get wisdom.
Yeah.
And so get wisdom, get skill.
Yeah.
I think that what I would hope people could maybe take from this, and it's kind of just a conversation about something in a book and greatness, but I think people hopefully could take, it's okay to strive for greatness.
Yep.
To use LeBron's phrase, it's okay to strive for greatness. I think checking your motive, I think you gave, that was great. Validation, or you adding value in that. And I think we as a culture, a society, I want to say all those of us in the church, like we're going to be better off if people are just great.
Yeah.
If you're
Yes.
a great spouse, if you're a great parent, if you're a great teacher, if you're a great politician, if you're we need more greatness. Not in always how society defines it, but in what God's called you to do.
Right.
Man, we need that. And so maybe it is intrinsic. Maybe there is something that God's wired in us so that we would. I definitely think there's something in us so that we create.
Yes.
Yep.
I think there's something in us for that. And so if that can cross over, hey, maybe that's freeing. Maybe it's freeing. I want to try to be the best at what I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's not just
good.
for me, but if I'm doing it, but doing it to serve.
Yeah.
Whatever you do. So
It's good.
So okay, so we have settled it. Michael Jordan and
LeBron.
we've
Not settled.
Michael
and,
Jordan's the GOAT.
And Tom Brady.
Yeah, and
I'm ready for sure.
I don't see. There's not even a
LeBron
debate.
is striving for greatness, so we got to
He
give him
is.
that. He's
We let him
striving.
strive.
Yeah,
We
strive.
We don't know. And
some strive and some
All-time
arrive.
NBA points
So,
leader, top 10.
well, when you're
rebounds and assists
you're
leader.
a grandfather and you're still in the league.
About to play
I mean,
with
that's
his son.
when you're
Yeah.
like
we'll stick to
When you're-
championships, and we'll just
when you're 47 years old and you're still playing.
Yeah, some strive.
I
And
think
some
LeBron
arrive.
is
and Michael
trying
Jordan's
to
arrived.
survive in the
Yeah.
league long enough until his son gets in there. Was I believe one of his goals, right? So I think okay.
I mean,
Last
he was
thing.
still
Last
a
thing.
top five
Last thing.
player.
I want to sit right here, real quick poll.
Golden
Last
State.
thing. Okay, you Golden State.
State.
Golden State or
Golden State.
Yeah, I'll probably take Golden State too. Last thing is this: LeBron James. Does he win another championship or not? I'm saying no. I think
No.
he's done.
He's my boy. Yes.
Wait, what do you- how is he your boy? Like you
does
know
that mean?
him? Like you're like
What does that
you.
mean?
It's funny how you went from being a Cleveland fan to a Los Angeles Lakers fan.
I'm a LeBron James fan.
Okay, well
Why?
I like basketball and I
The
I follow
Cavs
the
are still
Cavs.
my favorite team.
Okay,
I want the Cavs
So
to do
LeBron's
well.
your favorite human
But
being.
LeBron's
You're a
my
really big
favorite.
Cleveland person.
You're
Why
LeBron's
is
your
that?
LeBron's your favorite human being.
Not my favorite human being.
Yeah, no, that's what it sounds like.
No, not.
You have family in
Uh,
Cleveland? Why are you being so big on Cleveland?
I just love Cleveland.
He loves the Browns and he loves Deshaun Watson.
you ever even go to Cleveland?
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Okay, and so and by the way, Deshaun
No,
Watson, they just added
I know,
another civil
I know,
lawsuit to
I
it. So
know.
now we're up to 23.
I know.
Anyways, that's
Yeah.
not part of the conversation.
Yep.
So so we've settled it. Michael Jordan,
Yep.
Golden State.
Yep.
You said yep. Okay, mark it
no.
down.
Yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Jordan,
No.
Golden State,
No.
and LeBron will not win another championship.
There
He
we
will.
go.
He won't. So, anyways, I don't know if you have enjoyed this sports/crossover to greatness, but I hope that you become great at whatever you are passionate about, whatever maybe God's created you to do. Be the best at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Bible says, do it as though you're doing it for the Lord.
Yep.
Yeah.
If I'm going to do that, I want it
Yeah.
done with excellence.
Yep.
So be great in what you do, and we hope you've enjoyed this conversation, and maybe share it with somebody if you enjoy the little bantering back and forth. And we'd love to know. Okay, so we'd love to know. You can leave a comment on it. You can let us know, is Michael Jordan the GOAT? So we don't even have to include anybody else's name because
Yeah.
it could be Kobe, it could be whatever. So is Michael Jordan the GOAT?
Larry Bird.
Golden State, are they going to win?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
We're going to have to release this one. I know sometimes we record a few of them at a time. We're going to have to release this one. Maybe we might have to do this one sooner than later
Yeah.
because it's not going to make sense if we release this
Yeah.
and Golden State already won.
Yeah.
But what if Boston
when
wins
is the
and-
game?
The first game starts
Tomorrow.
First one of 7. So
First one of
we
7.
might have to release this one
Best of 7.
now.
Yeah.
We might have to do this one
Yeah.
We'll
Friday.
release it. So anyways, we hope you've enjoyed this conversation. Thanks for always being with us. And we always love to hear your comments, your feedback, and whether or not you think Zach is wrong about who is the GOAT. Anyways, thanks for joining us.
Always right.
We'll see you next time on the X Podcast.